Gurureva gatihi gurumeva bhaje gurunaiva sahasmi namo gurave nagurov paramam sishurasmi guroho matirasti gurau mama pahi guro asadhya sadhaka swamin asadhyam tava kim vada ramaduta daya sindho matkaryam sadhaya prabho. At the outset, I would thank all the members here for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my thoughts. And I'm extremely happy that lot of my friends and colleagues and managers and mentors are listening to this. So the name of this session itself is Bless. So I think by your presence and attendance itself, I am getting your blessings for listening, and most important, giving your valuable feedback at the end of the session or during the session. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you, PKN sir. Thank you, Tony sir, for this opportunity. The agenda is we will spend some time in setting the context for this topic, and then few acknowledgements. Then what is the focus of today's study, which is comparing to East and West principles on leadership, conclusion, and some discussion and question answers. Now, all of us know that we are in a VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous world. Staying positive in this VUCA world itself is very, very challenging. Apart from this, we have this Mahamari situation where we are having this pandemic, which is actually stretching our elastic limits at all levels, even at the leadership level, even at the performance level, at the knowledge worker level. At all levels, it is stretching the elastic limits. We are at the leadership level and at the company level, retaining talent, retaining great people, converting good people to great people is becoming the challenging part. Leadership is constantly changing. The way leaders run organizations are different. Today, in the difficult times, it is changing. So in this kind of a scenario, we want to see if we can look at our ancient texts or texts and see if they can offer some wisdom to us, so that we can use that. If they are relevant, we can use it to our situations and see if we can gain or benefit from them. That is the context for today. So how do we address this by root? Do we have any solutions at the root? So we have the ancient knowledge systems. Now today, the ancient knowledge systems is being identified even in the core curriculum of the CBSE system. And there is a textbook being written for the engineering students, which has the ancient knowledge systems with Sanskrit as the base. All these things are now started coming into the system itself. And then this ancient knowledge system, why do we require this? Because it is time tested. For example, the Vedas, they have stood over, say, about more than 432,000 years. It's a time tested solution that the Vedas can offer. There are some solutions like which all of us know, the Mahabharata, the story of Mahabharata, which is also a Itihasa. It can offer a comprehensive solutions. It's very huge, large, magnanimous in nature. It has got various solutions for these kind of situations. Then there are deep-rooted, simple texts like Ramayana, which can offer some solutions. There are other value-based texts like Bhagavad Gita. There are Chanakya's Niti Shastra, Artha Shastra. Then you have Subhashitas. There are a lot of texts in the ancient knowledge systems which can help us give this wisdom, and which will definitely help us. But today's focus, we will get into Ramayana, which is a deep-rooted in the deep-rooted way, and see how this can give us some leadership lessons. And in Ramayana, we are trying to see if Sundara Kandam, the fifth section of the 7 Kanda Ramayana, how can it give us solutions? All of us know that the Ramayana story. Ramayana is an itihasa with 24,000 shlokas. Valmiki is the author of the shloka. Rama, who is the hero of the story, is the incarnation of Vishnu. He is born to the son of Dasharatha along with three brothers, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrughna. Rama gets married to Sita. Rama, in order to adhere to the words of his father, comes to the forest with Lakshmana and Sita. Sita gets abducted by Ravana. Ravana makes friendship with Vanara King Sugriva, and Sugriva sends and he tries to, along with Sugriva, he tries to send the Sugriva army, the Vanaras, in search of Sita. From the search of Sita, when there is a team which goes in search of Sita in the southern direction, led by Angada, and the team members are Jambavan, Hanuman, Mainda, Dvivida, etc. All these people, a set of monkeys which go in the southern direction. And Hanuman and other monkeys, through Sampati, they come to know of through Sampati, the vulture, they come to know that Sita is in Lanka. Now, this is the story up till Sundarakanda. We will see the Sundarakanda story and the other things little bit in the next section. So this is today's focus, how this Sundarakanda, the section 5 of Ramayana, can help us in the leadership lessons. What this is about, we understood. What this is not about, we have to understand. It is not about limiting the powers of Ramayana to a management book. It is not about limiting the or contemporary wisdom. It is not about proving any other contemporary management book as trivial. These two things we are not doing by this study. This is an extensive research study which me and my brother have undertaken, not only in Ramayana, with other books also, the books that I mentioned in the first slide. So we are doing these studies, the management studies, and we are trying to evolve an Indian management system, an Indian management model, or a leadership model, various management models, which can be useful for the management colleges and the corporates, which has come out of our experiences in corporates, which has come out of our experiences of reading these texts and experiencing this in our corporate life. So that is what this is about. So we try to bring the best of the East and the West. The framework of the study. So in this study, we have what we have tried to do is we take all these texts like Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, and see if there are management aspects in them. That is type 1 study. The type 2 study is you compare these, you take a Western book on management and see if you have corresponding Ramayana shlokas or incidents or characters or facts which can straight away compare to them. That is the type 2 kind of a study. Type 3 kind of a study is a thematic study, which we try to do on various topics like various topics of management like stress management, crisis management, communication management from these textual perspectives, and present it in at various forums like this. This is one of a forum where I have the opportunity to present in front of world leaders. Same way, we have forums where we can present these kind of topics. So this also we are trying to do. We have done many topics on communication management, and on anger management, stress management, never give up hope. So we conducted about 58 lectures, a series of lectures in the United States, where we traveled all around the United States and did these kind of lectures there. Type 4, 2 years back we did this. Type 4 study is comparing the modern management models and principles, leadership principles and other things, and see if they can compare to Ramayana shlokas or the Ramayana leadership way, Mahabharata leadership way, how they compare to this. These are the 4 types of study that we are undertaking, and we are trying to unearth the principles which are existing in these texts so that directly it can be used by people in the corporate and in the management area and in the daily life for a human being. So what is special about this ancient wisdom? We will see that. Now, the inspiration for this kind of studies goes to all our Jagat Gurus and our Gurus ancestors, parents, family members, almighty, and well-wishers. Vishwanathan has helped. He is doing a PhD in management and yoga in this area, and he is currently registered for that. To all the leaders and managers of Bovis Lend Lease. See, it is. I still remember that I was in the SAP Labs project when Surya Narayan sent me to the Springboard. Harish was there, PKN sir was there. Everybody, Jai Simha was there in another project. Dr. Jai Simha was there in another project. So they sent me to Springboard. It was there at that Springboard I learned about the leadership principles and leading at the edge. So I was exposed to this leading at the edge book, which I will be talking about in just a few minutes. And it is that experience which actually kindled my that I should do this with the help of ancient knowledge system. That was in 2003, and special thanks to all these people in this forum where it is a construction management and a project management forum. You invited me and allowed me to present this topic. I'm extremely thankful to PK and Sir, Tony, and the thanks to Nimish goes to, because he was the person who did a study with when we go to Springboard in those 2 years, whoever goes to Springboard, they get trained in the leadership area. So they got trained in this same leading at the edge book, the principles in that book and all those things. What Nimish did this as a part of the knowledge sharing session inside Bovis Lend Lease India. He came to Bovis Lend Lease India and he did a wonderful presentation of the same thing by not taking the story of Ernest Shackleton, which is presented in the book, but by taking the story of Lagan movie and saying how leadership principles can be studied. And he ensured that the knowledge was transferred to everybody in Bovis Lend Lease. And this was an eye opener for me. If it can be done with the Lagan movie, why can't it be done with our ancient scriptures and ancient texts, with the stories of our ancient texts? That was what was my thinking at that time, and that was further kindled by that presentation by Nimish. So I thank him. And today's study will be on this is the book that we are talking about, Leading at the Edge. This is a book which converts the story of Ernest Shackleton's Antarctic expedition into leadership lessons. This book has been written by Dennis Perkins and Paul Kressler. Paul Kressler and Dennis Perkins were a part of Syncretis group. They only were training all of Bovis Lend Lease staff in the Springboard session on leadership. So this is the book that we are comparing, and the other comparing. So we are taking the type 2 study today. We are taking Ramayana and type 2 study. Here we are comparing Leading at the Edge and Sundarakandam of Valmiki Ramayana. So the comparison will be straight away between the leadership strategies of Ernest Shackleton and Hanuman. Hanuman is our leader here today. So this is what we will be doing. And about the Ernest Shackleton's expedition, this is the picture of the ship called Endurance, which Ernest Shackleton builds. He is an explorer. He wants to go around the Antarctica and come back to the place where he started. And he has been trying, he tries a lot of time, but when he takes these expeditions, he sends out an ad in the newspaper and he collects a team of people and he tells them how difficult the expedition will be. So to make them, to prepare them for the expedition, he also, this is the ice that they have encountered at that time, which is there in the book. This is the team, the photograph of the team of Ernest Shackleton, who undertook this expedition. Ultimately, about 5 to 6 people finished the expedition. Rest of them, they come on the way back. They come back. So this is the expedition that is taken by Ernest Shackleton. So December 5th, 1914. This is the story. He departs from South Georgia, and the Endurance is the ship. That's a ship which is specially designed to pierce through the ice of the ice waters of the sea, and then it can take through. So 28 people were on board. The total voyage of this entire expedition was 634 days, and he was an amazing leader, Ernest Shackleton. And Edmund Hillary. So how do we know that he was an amazing leader? Today, this is spoken in the management rooms, in the management corporate management trainings. People speak of Ernest Shackleton's expedition. Edmund Hillary, when he actually did the scaling of the Mount Everest, he says that um, when disaster strikes and all hope is gone, get down on your knees and pray for Shackleton. That is the word he uses. So he says, so the question which management gurus have been asking, why pray to Shackleton in desperate times? What is it that makes him a great leader? How did he become a great leader? What enabled him to overcome such seemingly unsurmountable obstacles during that expedition? What were the leadership strategies that he adopted during critical situations and when going becomes absolutely tough? That is something which that is what we are trying to see, the 10 strategies that he adopted, which has been summarized in the book. Actually, he did not name it as 10 strategies, but he adopted all those strategies, and it has been converted into a book and a management book, which talks about the 10 strategies for leading in critical situations. So currently also we are having critical situation. So what are those strategies? And they say that he's an excellent leader because the level of caring, the unique level of caring and camaraderie which he displayed with his team members was something phenomenal. That is what they were saying. I don't know. Suddenly, sorry. Which was something phenomenal. So these are the 10 strategies that Shackleton adopted. Never lose sight of the ultimate goal and focus on short-term objectives. So what they used to do in Springboard was they used to discuss all these 10 strategies, word by word, threadbare analysis of these strategies with the help of the story and without the help of the story, with case studies in our day-to-day office life. And they used to train us on these 10 strategies. So there was a card given to us. I was having that card for about 10 years, but then later when one of my purse got stolen, I lost that card. So I still remember that they had given a card in Springboard. Never lose sight of the ultimate goal. Set a personal example with visible, memorable symbols and behaviors. Each of these words are important. Instill optimism and self-confidence, but stay grounded in reality. Take care of yourself, maintain your stamina, and let go of guilt. This is for the leader. Reinforce the team message: we are one, we live or die together. Minimize status differences and insist on courtesy and mutual respect. Master conflict, very, very important. And in Springboard, what they used to do was, one of the areas we had to select, which we felt was the weakness area. There they used to give special training on the third day. That means on the whole day you will be put on one strategy, and you will be asked to go improve on that strategy. So master conflict was what I had chosen for myself, because I was very bad in dealing with conflict at that time. Even now, I think I have a lot to improve. Finding something to celebrate and something to laugh about. Be willing to take the big risk. Never give up always. There is always another move. So these are the 10 strategies, which is spoken at length in that book and which is explained through anecdotes in that book. Now, we got to know these things. I think all of us can read that book. There is a book summary also, which is available. Now, our topic is ancient texts and how it can give this, the study tool. So now, with Hanuman as a leader, what are these 10 strategies seen in the Sundarakandam? Was Hanuman leading at the edge, or was he leading beyond the edge? What was he doing? How did he tackle his situation and the situation of Rama and others in Sundarakandam of Ramayana? So what tough situations he faced, what techniques and strategies he adopted, how he overcame them, how he proves to be an level 5 leader in the employee maturity curve. So the Harvard Business Review has published a publication on the employee maturity curve. At the end, I will be talking about it. So how Hanuman is a level 5 leader there, level 5 employee or a leader there. Now, we did the story of Rama and only till the southern team comes to the seashore. So when the southern team comes to the seashore, they think of committing suicide, all the team members, because they are unable to find Sita. Then at the time, a unique incident happens, which I will tell sometime later. The When they realize that Sita, they finally get to know that Sita is in Lanka. Now, Lanka is on the other side of the ocean. So somebody has to cross the ocean and see where she is actually, whether she is safe and other things. Understand the facts and come and tell this back to Rama. So Hanuman decides to take that leap and say, I will go there. So when he crosses the ocean, he encounters three obstacles. First, three obstacles: the Mainaka Parvata, the Surasa Nagamata, and Simhika Rakshasi. These are three obstacles that he encounters. He overcomes those obstacles and crosses the ocean, reaches Lanka. There he encounters another obstacle at the entrance, Lankini. He overcomes that obstacle also. And then he starts searching Sita. He starts searching Sita in the palace, in the houses, at every nook and corner of the city of Lanka. And he does not leave even an inch of land. Chaturangula matropi navakasho na vidyate. That is what Valmiki says, and he does not leave even an inch of land. And even then, he doesn't find. Then he does not give up. He thinks, should I give up now and should I give up my life, or should I give up this search? Should I go back? What is that I should do? Suppose if he gives up, what happens? So all that he starts thinking, and then he prays to Rama, and then he energizes himself, and he finds the Ashokavana incidentally, and then he talks to Sita. He finds that Sita is trying to commit suicide there, and then he tries to console her. He tries to tell her what is the situation, and he gives the Rama's ring to her, and reposes all the confidences, reinforces her belief that Rama will come and protect her, and tells them that even the Vanaras will come and protect her. And then he takes the Chudamani, the another ornament from her, and then goes back to give back that ornament to Rama as a proof of his seeing Sita. And then he has that nice conversation, and then he decides that he has to do the role of an ambassador. The Ramaduta, as a Ramaduta, what is his role? He just thinks twice and then realizes that his work does not complete if he gathers just facts and just talks to Sita, but he decides to do further, and he destroys some of the Rakshasas, and in that Nimitta he meets Ravana, and he talks to him, tries to do his last bit of preventing the war situation, where he wants to say, why don't you give back Sita? It can be Rama will forgive you. Like that, he tries to do that. When that is not possible, Ravana set fires to his tail, and then he destroys Lanka. And then he comes back and meets his friends in the southern direction. With their help, he comes back to Rama and tells that Sita is here now. We have to go soon and rescue Sita. So then the story after that, all of you know, they rescue Sita. They build a bridge. Civil engineers marvel. Even today, we cannot think of building a bridge over an ocean. That is even we are all expert civil engineers in this group and project managers. Building a bridge across an ocean is not a joke. So Rama builds the bridge across the ocean with the help of Vanaras, goes to Lanka, fights Ravana and all the Rakshasas, comes back, wins over, comes back to Ayodhya and becomes the king of Ayodhya and rules the land. This is the story of Ramayana and the recap of the Sundarakanda. Now, the structure of this study is we take the 10 strategies mentioned in the leading at the edge, the situations faced by Hanuman, and how he proacted or reacted to them, and what leadership lessons are displayed. Now, the first strategy, as we saw in that book, is never lose sight of the ultimate goal, focus energy on short-term objectives. It has got two parts, never lose sight of the ultimate goal. So let us take the first part. The context for the first part is Mainaka. When Hanuman is crossing the ocean, Mainaka, the friend of Hanuman's father, requests him to take rest, have some fruits. See, I am obligated to your father. Why don't you take some rest and go? Ideally, for him, if he had taken rest for few minutes and few minutes or few hours and energized himself, it would have been better actually. He could have eaten some fruits and other things and energized himself and could have gone there. But what he says is, see, I am not, his reaction to that was, he says, I am pleased by your words itself. Just you offered that you are going to give me Atitya, or you are going to treat me as a guest. That itself is great to me. Now I am pleased at your hospitality. You please remove your unhappiness. Let me, I am very keen to achieve the work, accomplish the task which I am supposed to do. Tvarate karyakalo me ahaschapyati vartate. That means the accomplishment of the task is also drawing to close. I should not halt. I have taken a vow that I will not stop in between. I will be in absolute focus until my task is achieved. That is searching Sita and coming back and telling Rama about Sita's whereabouts. So that is my Rama Karya, which I am going to do. So that I am not going to rest till that. And he reacts in that way. So the message that we get is, keep sight of the big picture, no distractions allowed, however good or justifiable. See, actually eating fruits and energizing yourself in the middle is actually a good distraction. However, he thinks that it may distract his goal and his sight, his objective. So that is why he does not take that thing. But however, he does not disappoint Mainak also by telling him, your words are itself are enough. So that is how a leader takes to himself. And then the next thing is focus energy on short-term executive. He sees the Lanka. When he sees Lanka, it's a fabulous city. With today we are talking about construction technology. All of us have to read, especially Jaisimha sir. I would encourage Jaisimha sir, since he is studying Sanskrit, to read the second and the third chapter of Sundarakanda, Valmiki Ramayana. It talks about top-down construction. It talks about the various mansions. It talks about all the kinds of buildings that were there. So he sees these buildings and he says that focus energy on short-term. What is the objective now? The final objective is Rama should get united with Sita. That is the final objective. But the current context is, there is 100 yojana samudra. 1 yojana is equal to 8 miles. So we can calculate how much was the distance, the samudra yojana as per Valmiki Ramayana. So this 100 yojana samudra can be, the samudra or the sea can be crossed only by few people. So he realizes that. And the strongest fortress of Lanka, they cannot be broken. And what Ravana had done after bringing Sita inside Lanka, he had strengthened the security of the Lanka, where he has increased the security level to level 5 security with all redundancies in place, increased multifold. So that is how the security of Lanka was done. So he realizes that now this with the ultimate goal is to defeat Ravana and to unite Rama and Sita. But my short-term objective is to search for Sita and confirm the facts. That is my short-term objective. So let me do this first. That is what he thinks. So keep sight of the big picture, focus on individual tasks. This is about the first principle, never lose sight of the ultimate goal and focus energy on short-term objectives. Next, we get into the second principle, set a personal example with visible, memorable symbols and behaviors. So there are 3 parts to this statement. Set a personal example with visible, memorable symbols, and memorable symbols can be taken as one, and behaviors. Now, if we come to the context, what is the context here? Now, the context is they are in the southern direction, in front of the sea. There is Sampati, the vulture. He informs the location. Sita is in Lanka. This is 100 miles. 100 into 8 miles. You have to cross this. Somebody has to cross this and find out. So even the great warriors are unable to cross. You see, Angada, who is supposed to be a leader, he says, I can only go 100. I can go, but I can't come. Then Jambavan says, I used to do this in my olden days. So I remember just a deviation. I remember Amarwalia, who was my manager in Jones Lang LaSalle. After he was also a person in Bovis Lend Lease also. In Jones Lang LaSalle, when I was working with him, I was working under Harish, and then I went to Amarvalia. So when I worked under Amarvalia used to tell me, Venkat, you have to perform. You cannot live under past glory. So don't think that just because you did well with your previous managers, you can do well with me. You have to perform with me. That is how he was terrifying me. So there were great, powerful warriors who were unable to cross like that. Like Jambavan used to tell that I used to do this before. Now I am unable to do this. Now when Hanuman realizes that these people are unable to do this, they are in doubt. So he decides, let me see what I can do. Then Jambavan tells him that you are the senior most commander. He reminds Hanuman of his previous birth, of his powerful birth, and he says in childhood incident what he did, all those things. The Hanuman trying to catch the sun, thinking that it's a red ball, and the boons given by various gods which make him powerful and indestructible, and the highest speed that he has as a one monkey amongst the monkeys, he has the highest speed. All these things which Hanuman probably has forgotten because of some this one, he Jambavan reminds him. At that time he gets to know that, oh, I am a person who can do this. That is something he gets to understand, and he shows that he can do this by, once he knows that he has that yogic power, he grows in multitude. In the Sundarakanda first sarga, in front of the Varnas, he grows in multitude. He gives a physical display of strength and gives confidence to self and team. And he says that, see, I am there. And next, through his words, he gives assurance to the team. That is memorables. His words are assuring to the team. So confident behavior and words of the team leader is critical in tough situations. So I think we all understand this. And then what he ultimately does is he decides to proceed to Lanka by himself. Chakara Gamane Matin. He says that I want to go. I will go and take this leap, and I will take this risk, and I will proceed. So when the team members are in doubt, the leader has to set a personal example and display. When in team is in doubt, lead by example. Then before going to Lanka, he says that, see, but they were all planning to commit suicide, all these Vanaras. So now he has to ensure that they don't commit suicide. Even if he is delayed by 2 or 3 days, they should not commit suicide, right? So he now tells, he assures that confidence through memorable symbols. He says that all of you know about Rama's Bana, right? Rama's Bana only killed Vali because they had seen Vali being killed by Rama, single arrow of Rama. So he says, just like a Rama's arrow, which is unfailing, so will I be unfailing. So like that, he tries to tell by his words. That is a memorable symbol. The Rama arrow is a symbol that he tries to tell. And the symbol which instills confidence, he doesn't use some other symbol which doesn't instill confidence. He uses Rama's arrow as a symbol. That's a memorable symbol. And then he tells about through his words, he says, I will go to Lanka. If she's not there, I will go to the abode of gods. I will tie Ravana. I will get Lanka with Ravana. I will make sure that this is done. And don't worry, keep praying for me. Repeated confident assurance is required to motivate the team. That he does. And then after this is one example. Then what is that behavior that he does? So after consoling Sita in the latter part of the Sundarakanda, he decides to take up additional responsibilities without disturbing the original intended task. This is called Purva Karya Avirodha. He who can perform tasks in addition to the objective accomplished without affecting the original task is really worthy. Suppose it is like scope creep without asking for extra money in our language. So Purva Karya Avirodhena Sakaryam Kartum Arhati. So Hanuman exceeds expectations. He takes extended ownership of his task, and he decides to find out the strength of the army of Ravana. He tries to talk to Ravana as an ambassador, and then does the additional tasks also. So that is his behavior, and he shows ownership there. Third strategy is instill optimism and self-confidence, but stay grounded in reality. Here we have two incidents that we have to discuss. So first, while consoling Sita, who is depressed, so he says, "See, I have come here. Why don't you?" Sita says, "How you have come here? How can somebody cross this ocean?" So Sita says, "No, no, no. Nahi, you see, you just think who are the people who are sent to the enemy's camp. It is only the people who are not required by the people. So they have sent nahi prakrishta preshyante hitare janaha. The superior leaders like Angada was not sent as a messenger. So or somebody else was not sent. It was only Hanuman who was sent. So only ordinary people like me come. If ordinary people like me can come, why not Sugriva, who is my Raja? Why not Sugriva? Why not Angada? Why not other Vanaras who are more capable than me?" That is why he instills optimism in Sita, saying that everybody is going to come here, fight the war, and take back Sita safely. And then he says, "You don't need to cry for this. The entire team will come here." That is what he says. So you instill optimism and motivate them when they are in low spirits. Sita was fully depressed at that time, and that is the situation which he is handling. So he handles that very carefully. And then what he does is, when he comes back to Rama and conveys the message, he is grounded in reality. He doesn't talk like the way he spoke to Sita. He says, "Sita is in distress. We have only 1 month's time. Before 1 month, we all have to go there and we need to take immediate action. We have to this. See, this is optimism as a reality check." So he even tells that we have to find a strategy of to how to cross the ocean. All of us have to cross the ocean. Let us immediately proceed towards the ocean. That is what he tells Rama. So this is the message he conveys. So instill optimism grounded in reality. This is very important. In another incident, what he does is, he tries to, in one portion of the Sundarakanda, he says, in a war cry, he says, "Na Ravana Sahasram me yuddhe pratibalam bhave." 1,000 Ravanas cannot equal to me in fight. But that was, when did he tell that? He tells this in front of the Rakshasas to instill fear in the enemy. But when he comes and meet Ravana, he understands that Ravana himself is a great warrior. And he understands that Ravana can defeat Indra, Brahma, uh, Rudra and others. And he's a devotee of Rudra also. He can defeat anybody if he wants to. If only he was righteous, he was dharmic, he could have succeeded. He realizes that Ravana is also a great warrior. So I cannot, the way I conveyed to the Rakshasas, I cannot think that I am like 1,000 Ravanas, but I know where I am. So he takes appropriate action based on that. So maturity to accept reality, to appreciate facts and take steps. That is something which is seen in Hanuman, which a leader has to do. The fourth strategy that we are thinking is, take care of yourself, maintain your stamina, and let go of the guilt. So this is a very important thing. Before taking the 100 Yojana leap, so today in organizations, in Unilever also, in Vishwanath has worked, he talks about the physical well-being, the emotional well-being, mental well-being, and spiritual well-being, the relational well-being. All these well-beings are being spoken about in a corporates, in a large corporates. There are corporate scenario. There are large workshops which are conducted for the employees to make sure their physical quotients, the emotional quotients, the mental quotients, spiritual quotients are in place. It is very balanced, such that the work-life balance is there and they take care of themselves. So Hanuman decides that I need to have all these well-beings with me. So first, what does he do? He does some warm-up exercises, does some breathing exercises. Then he does yogic postures. He does meditation, prayers to Almighty, and then he starts. So prayers to Almighty is a spiritual quotient, meditation is the mental quotient, yogic postures and breathing exercises, all are the physical, and the emotional quotient is the set of words that he speaks to the Vanaras by telling that he can he can go and search Sita and come back successfully. So he does this kind of an exercise. He takes care of himself, and in another situation, when he is searching for Sita, he is supposed to be a celibate or a brahmachari. So a brahmachari is not supposed to see women in a kama, in a desire, in a way that he gets attracted to kama. So, but he searches for Sita. He then realizes that if he has to Sita being a woman, he has to search for a woman in amidst women only. So then he then questions himself and he tries to test his mind whether am I guilty of not being a brahmachari by going into the harems and the antapura of women and seeing them in inappropriate clothing and other things. Am I doing something wrong? So then he realizes that he let go of that guilt, and he says that, see, I am only doing what I'm supposed to do, and my mind is very pure. I have never thought bad about any of these women, even in my mind. So this was one of the distraction, and he had to let go of guilt here. Otherwise, he would be with that guilt. So mens rea. So today, in the legal terminology, there is a terminology that people use. What the intention to, whether there was really an intention in the mind to commit that act. That is what is tested by the lawyers when they really find out whether you were guilty. So that is important, and that we can see here. He proves himself not guilt of himself, and then he continues. The fifth one is reinforce the team message. We are one, we live or die together. Here there are more than lot of incidents. And one more thing, what I want to tell is these are filled with incidents. With the given short time, and with this forum being leaders who know most of the concepts, I'm only putting some incidents here. So in the team message, we have a lot of incidents. Incident number one is when the group is not able to get any news about Sita, and when they are sitting in the southern part of the sea, and they all decide to end their life at the seashore, then they start talking about Ramayana, and they get a good news from Sampati. How did this all happen? Sampati is the brother of Jatayu. Jatayu is another vulture whom Rama meets in between. So how did this Jata, the moment the word Jatayu is uttered by these Vanaras, Sampati gets activated, and he asks what happened to Jatayu. Then he guides them, and this happens. Now they have decided that they will all end their life. So they live or die together. Let us live or die together, joy or sorrow. When they decide that, they start, okay, let us do one thing. One Vanara asks, what is the reason? Let us team up and find out whether before we dying, at least we will see, we will team up together, and we will all get together, and we will speak up, and we will see what happened. Who is the reason behind our status? See, today we are trying to commit suicide. Who is the reason for us committing this suicide? I think one Vanara says, nicely says, it is Manthara, because Manthara was she kindled Kaikeyi to ask for the two boons and made Rama and others come to the forest. Another Vanara says, no, it is not Manthara. Manthara is just a servant. Why? This Kaikeyi is the main reason. This Kaikeyi, she is supposed to be a queen. She is supposed to be having knowledge of all this Rajaniti and governance principles and all. Why she should understand what is good or right, good or bad. Why did she listen to her? She is the reason. Another Vanara says, she is not the reason. Why is this Dasharatha falling in infatuation even after so many years of marriage and having 3 wives? So now this Dasharatha is the reason. He should not have listened to Kaikeyi. He should have said that promise is different. This is something you ask, something different. So another Vanara says, no, it is Kausalya. Dasharatha is okay, but Kausalya should have put a break on Dasharatha, telling that Rama is my son. My son only should. Why should my son go to forest? Kausalya is the reason. Another thing, some Vanara says, Rama is the reason. This Rama is not a real son. He should have told Dasharatha, you gave promise to Kaikeyi some time ago, wherein I was not born only, and you are asking me to fulfill that promise, wherein I am not at all involved. You didn't even ask me. So this Rama was a very good son. He listened to Dasharatha and Kaikeyi and decides to go to forest. So Rama is the reason for our suicide. Then they said, no, Rama is not the reason. If Sita had not come with Rama to the forest, this story of Sita getting abducted by Ravana would not have happened. That means Rama would be safe. Anyhow, he's a king and he's a warrior and he knows how to protect himself. This Sita would not have been abducted, and Rama would have stayed in one ashrama nicely. And now, since Sita is abducted, Rama comes to Kishkinda, makes friendship with Sugriva and all those things. And now today we are searching for Sita. So Sita is the reason for all these things. Then somebody says, no, Lakshmana is the reason. If Rama and Sita had come alone, they would have been in Hermitage enjoying their life in the forest. But this Lakshmana was there, and he goes, when Sita tells Lakshmana, you go and search of Rama is in trouble, you go and find out. Lakshmana goes behind Rama to search whether what happened to Rama. So Lakshmana is the reason. If Lakshmana had not gone, Sita would not have been abducted. Then somebody says, no, it is Bharata. How is Bharata coming into this picture? Bharata comes to Chitrakuta and talks to Rama and takes Rama's Paduka and goes to Ayodhya. Now, if Bharata had not come to Chitrakuta, Rama had decided that Chitrakuta is a nice place, let me stay in Chitrakuta. He would not have moved to the southern part of the deeper, dense forest, where there was a chance of the Rakshasas abducting Sita, Ravana abducting Sita, Shurpanaka coming and all. So it was Bharata who made Rama come into the deeper forest, because Rama was afraid Bharata may come again sometime in the middle and say, you come back to Ayodhya, then he will be in trouble. So then somebody said Guha is the reason. Guha is the hunter who brings Bharata to Rama and shows the place of Chitrakuta. So Guha is the reason. Some others say Shurpanaka is the reason, because if Shurpanaka had not fallen in love with Rama, then she would not have gone and told about Sita to Ravana, and Ravana would not have abducted her. Somebody says Ravana is the main reason because he abducted Sita. Then one Vanara said it is Maricha who helped Ravana to abduct Sita. So Maricha is the king. Then some other Vanara says it is Jatayu who actually is the reason for our death, because Jatayu actually did not fight the war with Ravana very well. He must have done some exercises and built up his physique very well. Then only he could have fought very well with Ravana. So Jatayu could not fight properly with Ravana, and because he lost in the battle today, and he was killed by Ravana, today we are facing this situation. So this Jatayu word Jatayu actually kindled a solution into this in this difficult situation. And Sampati comes and tells that Sita is there, who is Jatayu, and they inquire, and Sampati says that Sita is in Lanka. So staying together and speaking up in difficult situation can bring wonderful solutions. This is the team message, incident 1. Then before going to Lanka, we have already discussed this. Hanuman says that we will all put efforts individually and collectively. So if suppose he cannot succeed, he says that I will bring the entire Lanka and Ravana, tying Ravana I'll bring here. Let us all ask Ravana where is Sita, and we'll see if we can take some action together. So that was one thing. Then when he cannot find Sita, after searching every inch of Lanka, he does this is very important. He does a what if analysis, impact analysis. Every action of mine has an impact on the team. That is what he thinks. Now, if I commit suicide, the entire Rama will, it has an impact on the team. If Rama will commit suicide, if Rama commits suicide, Lakshmana will commit suicide, everybody will not be there. They will feel sorrow. Then the entire Ayodhya will not be there. The entire Kishkinda will not be there. So he decides like that, and he does an impact analysis, and he does that. I have to leave for the sake of the team. So that is what he decides. Every action of mine has an impact on the team. That's what he decides. And then in another context, he when he wants to destroy the person of partial Rakshasas, he says, Jayatyati balo Ramo Lakshmanascha Mahabalaha Raja Jayati Sugrivaha Raghavena Bipalitaha. He uses this shloka as a message. He says, we are all one. Rama is one, Lakshmana is one, Sugriva, we are entire Rama. Don't try to separate us. We are all one. We are a single unit. We are going to fight, and definitely we are very strong, and we are ruled by Sugriva and Rama. Like that, he tells that. So then he comes back. When he comes back to meet his team members after finding Sita, he uses a term. This is called Drishta Seti. In Tamil, they say Kanden Sitai. Nodal Pattidalu, Sitayu Nodal Pattidalu. Instead of telling that in Kannada, he says Nodal Pattalu Site. That means by telling Drishta only, Kanden Sita or Drishta Sita in Sanskritam, The drishta, it is a term which can be used by, it's a team phrase. Everybody can use drishta sita, drishta sita, drishta sita. They can all tell. They can say, we have seen Sita, we have seen Sita, we have seen Sita. I have seen Sita, we have seen Sita. Both can be told by this Sanskrit phrase. That's so he uses this Sanskrit phrase, and it becomes a team mantra. So they all say drishta sita, drishta sita. It is, they keep on telling that as a team phrase to convey the success when they are coming back. So achievement is by the team and not by the individual. That is what he tries to reinforce us this message. And then after doing all this, when he gives an executive summary to the team and drama, he says, Raghavasya prabhavena bhavatam chaiva chedasa. Only because of all you team members praying for me in the seashore when I was doing work there, everything was favorable to me. I could find Sita. And Sugriva was my master who gave me this great purpose. And Rama is my great Swami who has given me the, whom I worship, who has given me this power. So like that, he gives the credit to the teamwork. Success has to be given to the entire team, and it is not only the success of the leader. This is a very important principle. Minimize status differences and insist on courtesy and mutual respect. So here what he does is, when Hanuman is tied and brought to the Ravana's court, Ravana, what he does, he doesn't talk to Hanuman. Prahasta is one of the ministers of Ravana. He talks to Prahasta and says, find out who is this monkey. So Ravana talks to Prahasta, but Hanuman does not like that attitude of Ravana. He says he's a Ramaduta and his words are beneficial to Ravana, and he directly replies to Ravana and does not even see Prahasta eye to eye. So he clarifies that he is indestructible and he only was chose to be caught by the Rakshas only so that he can talk to Ravana and convey the messenger of the Swami or the master. So that is when he tries to tell that mutual respect is a mark of a great leader. So he demands respect and he says, I will give you respect. You have to give me and Rama our respect. So that was 6. Master conflict, deal with anger in small doses, engage troublemakers, avoid needless power struggles. There are a lot of points in this. Deal with anger in small doses is 1 point. Engage troublemakers is 2nd point. Avoid needless power struggles is 3rd point. So let us see how these points are being dealt by Hanuman. So we saw that there were 3 obstacles that Hanuman encountered when he tried to cross the ocean. The first obstacle was the Mainaka mountain. This obstacle represents or signifies Sattva Vigna. In Hinduism, everything has a significance. Sattva Vigna. Sattva Vigna means you have friendly colleagues with you and with good intentions who are there to help you, but who will deviate you or distract you from your main goal. So you have to deal with, they are your friends, they are your known comrades, your own family members, etc. How to deal with them. This is one type of Vigna. Then the second type of Vigna is the Surasa Nagamata, which is a Rajo Vigna. Aggressive. There are aggressive colleagues and obstacles who give you needless challenges and says you have to do this before you do that. This is a dependency on this task. Let us do this. Aggressive things are given. So that is a Rajo Vigna. And then a Chayagrahi Rakshasi, that she represents the internal mind weaknesses and that we have within ourselves. So in many times a leader will have his own problems. He will have his internal weaknesses which will pull him down. Those weaknesses he has to, with all his mental strength and physical strength, he has to come out of those mental weaknesses. There will be backstabbers who will be try to do corporate politics or something with us. So we have to make sure that we fight all those things with physical and mental strength. So there are different strategies which Hanuman adopts in different situations. First strategy, he treats with utmost respect, and that is the way he deals with that. Second one, lateral thinking. Third one, with all the physical and mental strength. Another case where when Lankini tries to prevent him from going inside the city of Lanka, he tries to, when she is angry and when she tries to beat him, he tries to engage the troublemaker and use anger to his advantage. He tries to tell some words which further creates anger in her, and she beats him first because he did not want to commit the act of beating a woman first. So he wanted her to beat him first so that he can later take some action against her if needed. And then he uses anger to his advantage in this situation. So deal with anger in small doses. That was one thing. Then here also, here again anger. When he is caught here, what he does is he triggers Ravana. When Ravana does not listen to Hanuman's words of returning Sita, he tells, "Do you know that Vali who was killed by Rama? You were defeated by Vali once. Do you know of that story?" So he insults or reminds Ravana of his own insult which had occurred to him in past in private. And he says, and he also tells Sita is not an ordinary woman. So he praises Rama, insults Ravana, and praises Sita. And she's an avatar of goddess Durga and or Lakshmi, Skalaratri. That means she's a goddess Lakshmi, and she can take any action if she desires to. Like that, he tries to create fear. So choice of words and landing messages to provoke the enemies. That is what he does. Now this provokes Ravana, and he says, kill him, kill this him." Then Vibhishana intervenes and says, a Duta has not, an ambassador should not be killed. And then they set fire to his tail. And now this also, he does not get angry when his fire is when his tail is put to fire. He thinks, okay, let me control this anger for a bigger cause, because I can create a bigger impact by this fire. So he then burns Lanka, and then he then thinks, okay, I was angry and I burnt Lanka now. Now, what is the effect of my anger? Let me introspect. Did I burn Sita also? So a leader has to think, detect and identify that he has been angry and it has caused problems to many. Ideally, he should control his anger. So he should control the anger just like putting fire with water. That is what Valmiki says. Then why is anger management required? There is a full chapter in 57, in around 50th Sarga of Sundarakanda, where this anger management is dealt in detail, where anger can kill even elders. It can do whatever can be done with anger, with a harsh tongue. And it's a very improper act to be angry. And we should not speak those kind of words when we are angry. And who is a real human being? So just like a serpent casts off its skin, a man should cast off his intense anger when it springs up. By virtue of his endurance, he has to do it. Then he is supposed to be a real human being. So Hanuman talks about these things and introspects with quite some time in that sarga, and he says whether I want to. The golden rule that we all as leaders should understand is whether we want to be really human with our employees, with our comrades, with our team members. That is the golden rule I think we should follow, and that is what Hanuman's message is about. Then finding something to celebrate and something to laugh about. So when Hanuman comes back to along with the team, they reach Madhuvana. It is a place where lot of honey and fruits are there. Fruit trees are there. They want to celebrate by eating honey and the fruits. So they follow the approval protocol. They ask, so Vanaras ask Angada, can we enjoy now? Angada asks Jambavan. Jambavan and Hanuman, they discuss. Jambavan finally understands that timely motivation is required, and to recognize the past achievements of these Vanaras. They had struggled a lot for 2 months searching for Sita, and Hanuman also had gone there and come back. So let us celebrate now with this small Madhuvana, but drinking this honey, and then future efforts. We have the larger goal. So that find something to celebrate. They celebrate only to give motivation to the team, inspiration to the team, and make sure that they continue to stay motivated, because there is a larger war to be fought later. That is what is in the minds of Jambavan and Hanuman. So they do this celebration, and then be willing to take the big risk. Now, what are the risks that Hanuman took in this entire Sundarakanda? First thing is by deciding himself to go and cross the ocean. That is the first risk. And 100 into 8 miles, nobody could do this. He is telling, I will go, I am going to take this risk. The second one was crossing the Mainaka without taking rest or consuming any food. his energy, his physical well-being is at risk. Then handling Surasa with tact and not with force. That Surasa may come again, but then he handled her tactfully. Then tearing apart Simhika, a powerful demoness. Simhika, enraging her, and that incident. Then Sita's conversation with Sita. This is a wonderful communication management lesson. So in one of our lectures where communication management, we have discussed over um, more than 3 to 4 hours of uh, dwelling into the topic of communication management, how one should communicate with different stakeholders, with different team members, with different situations and so here he consoles Sita. She was about to commit suicide, so he had to take the risk of being very careful with his words. So his entire communication was at risk, because if he had communicated incorrectly, Sita would have taken an ultimate step either after he left, or that she would have committed the suicide which she had earlier tried to. And one more risk he does. I will take you back if you want to come me. I am such a powerful person. He tries to offer that also to just instill optimism in her. Deciding to kill and powerful Rakshasas and meet Ravana. Suppose while he doing this act, if he gets killed, what will happen? He will not be able to come back. Nobody can tell where Sita is. So that is the greatest risk he decided to take. He decided he had finished the task given. Scope of work is over. He decides to undertake the extra scope to please the client, what we say in our bhasha, in our construction management bhasha. And he decides to defeat and kill the powerful Rakshas and meet Ravana. That is one risk, because Ravana can put him in behind the prison or something, and something may happen. Then the ninth important risk is burning Lanka and destroying the infrastructure. That risk. In that risk, he could have burnt Sita. The Ashoka Vana also could have been burnt. Luckily, that didn't get burnt. So these are the risks that he took. Big risk, big rocks are big risks that he took. Some risks were converted to opportunities. Some were real risks that he took. Then that the last strategy is never give up. There is always another move. Now, in the United States, in San Jose, we conducted a lecture where the topic of that lecture was how to prevent suicide in America. Okay, so never give up. There is always another move. So the statistics, the American statistics says 8 lakh people die by suicide in the world each year, out of which one death every 40 seconds. This is about given in that statistics. So Hanuman, when he's such a powerful warrior, he crossed the ocean, he searched multiple times. He was so depressed in between, he decided to give up his life. Then he considers the effect of his failure on all these people, including Rama and other things. And then he decides, and he finally gives a message for himself and for all of us today. Today we can take this as the takeaway for today, along with other lessons. Anirveda Shriyo Moolam, Anirveda Param Sukham, Anirvedo hi Satatam Sarvartheshu Pravartakaha. Hope, Anirvedaha, not losing hope. Hope is the root of our development and wealth. Hope is the cause of greatest happiness. Hope is always indeed the achiever in all matters. We should never lose hope in any of our situations. That is the message that he gives for himself. And what did he adopt at that time? He paused for himself and he thought of the consequences. He took higher help from higher energies and powers, and then he comes out of the situation and he finds Sita. So now Hanuman, this is the point which I was trying to tell. The Harvard Business Review published an article on employee maturity curve. What are the 5 stages of an employee maturity curve? There are different types of employees. One type of employee is he waits till something is told to him and then he does the work. There is another person who does not wait, but he says, sir, what can I do today, sir? What is my action today, sir? Now there is one more person who says, oh, I am supposed, these are my roles and responsibilities. These are my key result areas. Let me take these actions. Before taking this action, let me see if I can recommend or consult and talk to my senior. That is one kind of a person. The fourth person, he acts on the actions, but he takes regular inputs once or twice, and this is one type of employee. And this is that is the maturity level of the employee in different situations. Then there is one type of an employee who acts on his own and then routinely reports and then make sure that there is ownership, complete ownership of the action and the deliverable that is assigned to him. So where am I in this employee maturity curve? Can we evaluate ourselves? If you see Hanuman at different positions, he is in different levels. Probably he was at the level 5 right from the beginning. He wanted make sure that he acts on his own and then reports to appropriate people. And this is a reflection that we can take for ourselves along with other points that we have discussed today. So with this, I would like to proceed towards the conclusion. The entire Ramayana is being analyzed in this manner, or the other text that I was talking is being analyzed in this manner by us and many people in this field. The reason for analyzing Ramayana in this manner and bringing out the secret of this, if something good is there in this lecture, it is only because of our gurus, blessings of our gurus and the elders here present here in this, and elders and friends present in this forum. And what our gurus have requested is you do Nitya Parayanam of these granthas. Read these granthas daily. They are like, they give you insights, deep-rooted insights you can get from these granthas. Every word of the text can give you deep insights. Learning Sanskrit to the extent of understanding the bhava, the import, and reading them, chanting the powerful mantras inside these granthas can energize and increase our spiritual quotient. Finally, if we learn Sanskrit, we can get real happiness through these kind of margas also, these kind of routes also. The power of Sanskrit is immense, immeasurable. The words which it can convey and the ancient knowledge system, tons and tons of information is available. Mahabharata itself is 1 lakh. The entire Purana itself is about 5 lakh shlokas. There are millions and millions of lines of Vedas lying there. So if we study Sanskrit and try to unearth these principles and give it to the society and the modern generation, I am sure our modern generation will be benefited by these wisdom, and they will also try to respect these texts and the ancient rishis and our ancestors. That is one of the things. All this was possible because we are in an organization called Vyoma Linguistic Labs. We have built 18 multimedia products, 200 courses, mobile apps, video recordings, which does all these kind of activities. We are a non-profit organization, social enterprise, which does promoting of Sanskritam, Samskriti, and these kind of messages to the corporate world. And we only sustain on donations. So if any of you are interested in helping us by putting a word to your friends and relatives who may be able to contribute to our corpus fund, or any of our activities, it will be of great help. Thank you very much, and thank you for giving this time.